I'm just taking this here to show a pattern of certain metates. Whereas, so many have the belief that metates are all indented, and if they don't show any indents or anything, then they don't think that they're used or true metates. But I'll show you a pattern here. This one here is this would be the top, in which they use the mono in a circular manner. You can see that it actually almost curves to the outside. All this is pretty flat on this one, but then the bottom, you turn it around, the bottom is kind of a domed shaped bottom. This one, slightly. These are made usually to fit in your lap, or the person who is doing it would fit in their lap. Anyway, you see how that is, this being the top. It's been pecked and ground. You can see the pecking marks on it. Now let's take this one here, which would have been, this would have been the surface, the top, in which they would have grounded it. It has some little indentations, but for the most part, it actually, domes a little bit at the top, and then goes down to the sides, and then the other side. Then you'll see the other side as being more domed shape. Let me see that. And again, this is a large one, but this one here, it shows substantial use on the top, and then domes on the bottom. And then here's another one. This is a big one. This would be the top. You can see kind of how it tapers down to the sides. And this kind of, in the middle is a little bit higher than the sides. There. And then turn it around, and you can see, again, if I can get this all right on the camera, you can see then where it, again, dome shape. But it's been well used on the top. And so then, that's kind of how they were. They didn't indent in here. They didn't indent at all. These are a little bit, see, this one here is domed on the bottom. This would be the bottom here, and then of course the top. You can see on the top where it tapers to the sides. It's a little higher in the middle and tapers to the sides, so that apparently as they did it, in their circular motion, it would fall off the sides. And they didn't peck it every time. They kept it a smooth surface. It's a pecking that to get to rough surfaces, that causes it to start to go down. But when they just left it, the smooth surfaces like this, then it didn't really go, down. Here's a little example of one, not so, and this one here, this would be the bottom, but they'd use both sides. But again, it was pecked and ground to get it into its shape, mainly, that's just here's another one. It's a lot like this one, and it's it's pretty, you know, kind of domed on the bottom. You can see how they handled it a lot on the sides because of the darkness to this. If it was near a fire or what, when they were doing it. But then here's the top, see? The top, again, kind of tapers from the middle down to the outside, a slight taper, which was a type of metate that they did. This, again, you can see that it's slightly domed. This is a smaller version, and not so domed on the bottom. And then the top part, where they used it to grind, is, you know, pretty flat, but it tends to taper slightly to the outside. Here's another one. Now this one here, you can see that they probably used it on both sides, but you can see a little indent here on this one. And then this is, you know, the surface. They use both sides of this, and you can see where the surface here is not really indented. This is the more common, you know, fits almost into both categories, but the most common type of metate that I have is that I've collected, that where they're kind of thicker on one end and then it tapers down to being thinner. See, on the other end, so that they went down and went off of the edge down there. But you can see how they've used this one that way. And anyway, that's kind of an example of the metates and how they were used. Different types, different reasons. These come from a newer time period, according to the archaeologists, because they used them or they didn't wear out as fast. So anyway.